2024 Gran Turismo World Series production cars tuned to the max in the beautiful conditions on this Tokyo Expressway circuit at night as well, just to add another element for the drivers to have to contend with. And here is how they line up on the grid. It's Takuma Miyazono in the Lamborghini, who's in pole position. Alongside him on the front row, the Audi R8 of Takuma Sasaki. Row 2 is headed by Angelina Stroza in the Mercedes-AMG Black Series. Jose Serrano for company in the Ferrari F40. Next up, it's Kylian Drumont in the Pagani Huayra. And then you've got Coque Lopez in the Nissan Skyline GTR R34. Then the R32 Nismo Skyline of Kai de Bruyne is in 7th with Valerio Gallo. He'll be happy with that. He loves a Honda. He's in the NSX in 8th position. Then it's Guy Barbara in the Nissan GTR R35. And then Toyota Supra is driven by Robbie Heck. Callum Roche, I should say, beg your pardon, is in the Mazda RX-7. And Adriano Carrazza in the Nismo 400R lines up at the back of the field. No need to worry about tyres during this race, by the way. It's a flat-out sprint from start to finish. It is going to be action-packed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a straight fight, this. And as you saw from our little graphic earlier on, these cars are tuned to way over 1,000 horsepower. And you add the slipstream into that, and you have the speeds entering T1 over 400 kilometers an hour or 250 mile an hour if you're that way inclined. So it's going to be, I think, chaotic down at T1 the first time through. If you get through there in one piece, I think you're in good stead for the race. That's definitely going to be a challenge.
It certainly is, and the drivers, as we said, are going to have to be contending with nighttime conditions, and we saw them practicing earlier on. They were oversteering, understeering, sliding about all over the place. It was quite dramatic, really.
Yeah, it was very much so, but a lot of fun to watch. And of course, bear in mind, in this case, it's a ton of fun to see these cars being represented. So the drivers get ready to start.
So then, it's time to go racing. The sprint race for the Nations Cup here in Tokyo is underway. Miyazono leads the field across the timeline, then Sasaki in second, Stroza in third. You can guarantee that order will be changing by the first corner, and even within a few hundred metres it's changed, because Sasaki goes through into the race lead. Now Miyazono goes from being the hunter being the hunted to being the hunter, rather, I should say. Serrano there lurking in the background, as well as Angelina Stroza. It funnels right down into turn 1. Who's going to be last at the late breakers? Miyazono on the inside, then Sasaki and Serrano bang into the wall for Sasaki and also for Serrano. Stroza takes advantage and goes through into third position, and somehow, in all of the drama, Miyazono manages to retain the lead.
Yeah, I mean, they've had the brakes upgraded these things, but I mean, slowing from that sort of speed is very, very difficult indeed. A couple of cars into the wall there. Miyazono out front from Sasaki, Stroza there in third, Serrano fourth. But as you can see, very, very tricky getting these production-based cars through this circuit. So much power being delivered to the wheels here. Some of these cars as well are rear-wheel drive, some are four-wheel drive. There's an advantage there in traction zones, but of course in the corners they're going to be a bit more susceptible to understeer the four-wheel drive machines. But coming through this tight section for the first time, as we now come back up towards where we started our rolling start. And to be honest, you don't really want to be where Miyazono is unless you can get a big gap out front. The slipstream, the toe in these cars is absolutely huge.
Yeah, certainly is. So let's see what's going to happen then here as we come down in towards the hairpin. They're not favourable on traction, these cars, at all, because the amount of power that's going through the rear axles, or indeed sometimes the front and the rear axles, you've got to be really, really ginger on the power. Someone's out well wide. That's kind of Bruyne, isn't it? Yeah, he's off into the centre of Tokyo, I think. He's ended up in Ginza or something along the lines of that, but manages to keep it righted and holds on to 8th position. On board we are here with Jose Serrano. Look at the power here of the Ferrari F40 as we go into the tunnel, and his next target will be Sasaki and Bruyne. So it's the two Japanese drivers now leading the Spaniards.
Look at that speed climb there, 360 kph before we came off board there, 390, there's 400 kilometres an hour off the end of the speedo, and then some into this F40. I mean, I love two, to be honest, at this point. It's very, very good for the well. Do they ever get stopped in time this time through? They do, and Kai de Bruyne almost getting it wrong in the skyline, almost going to the back of Jose Serrano there, but Sasaki up into the lead now, of course, after that slipstream opportunity. But you're seeing these cars are insane, and you have to belong to a very special club to be in one of these cars, Tom.
Certainly do. On board we are looking, rather, I should say, at Takuma Miyazono, with Sasaki having taken over at the sharp end of this race. So down through into these sweeping S-bends. You've got to be one at a time through here, and you've got to really be careful about what sort of opportunities you decide to take, what liberties you decide to take, because it will reward you with the wall if you decide to push the limits that little bit too far. So Stroza having a good run of things so far. And just to remind you, of course, this race result will decide the grid order for the grand final coming up along the way after this one. And just to add another variable in the mix, we're into the Red Bull X 2019. Now let's work out what happened here with Robbie Heck and Guy Barbara. This is going to be down into the hairpin bend, and I think there's going to be a bit of contact into the back. Yeah, Barbara just misses the braking point straight into Heck. Heck gets spun round. Barbara backs off the gas. I think Heck he's still down in 12th place, so I reckon there'll be a penalty for that.
That's a very Guy Barbara thing to happen, unfortunately. He always seems to be quick, but just a little bit prone to incident at the moment.
And Robbie Heck has loads of luck, just all a bit bad, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is. But again, on board this time with the mighty R24 GTR. Guy Barbara giving that penalty. Here's the 6th. Look at this, Stroza. We're going to drive by him. I say that, but now we're back into the toe again. So it's just a look. I mean, despite the speeds, again, we're well off the end of the speed over here in the R24. We've got 410, 414, 400. We're going to see 420.
We're going to go through all one for the race lead as well. Coming down in towards the first corner. Serrano's on the outside. Sasaki there as well. Oh, bang! Straight into the back. Lopez into the wall. And that is drama. And we were expecting it to kick off. And unfortunately, it did in the biggest way at the start of lap 3. The upshot is it's Sasaki, Miyazono, and Stroza out in front. And now we've got Lopez, who's got a lot of recovery work to do if he's going to be able to salvage a result from this race and secure himself a good grid position for the grand final.
Yeah, that's our championship leader right there in jeopardy. So, I mean, we know Coque Lopez is going to come back through the field, but obviously you don't want to be doing that. And that'll likely be a penalty as well, because he just ran into the back of the guy in front. Valerio Gallo, good race from him so far, up to P5. He's moved up 3 places from his starting position in 8th, so now onto the back of the pack. From that, Zak's doing pretty well. Here is a replay, you missed it, of Coque Lopez just getting the braking all sorts of wrong. He actually helps run out of it there, I think.
I think he knew that he'd outbrake himself, but he just decided to go straight to the wall. Look at that facial reaction says it all, doesn't it?
Oops.
Yeah, something's wrong running around in his head that we can't repeat on the broadcast. Guy Barbara did, by the way, pick up a 2-second penalty for his troubles after that collision with Robbie Heck, just for your information. Miyazono a bit deep at the hairpin there. That allows the door to open for Stroza, who's gladly ready to walk through it and slot into the slipstream of Sasaki, the race leader. Lopez and Serrano now under investigation for that collision at the start of this lap as well. Onto the straight we go, and we've got a fantastic shot of the action unfolding here with Valerio Gallo in front. You've got Serrano and Miyazono side by side. So Serrano and Stroza, I should say, side by side as we go through the tunnel. Stroza just able to hold firm ahead of Jose Serrano for now as well. Keep an eye out for Kaider Brings. It's a little wide. Look at the closing speed, the slipstream there for Miyazono. Sasaki early on the brakes. He knows that you don't want to make the same mistakes that Lopez did. Hello, enter stage left. That's Angel Stroza trying to go the long way around the outside, but you have to wake up pretty early to try and fall off Takuma Sasaki. He probably knows these roads a little bit better than Angel Stroza.
Isn't that insane? And you can be going 380 kph and the guy drives by you and with that speed differential. Crazy combat. Unsurprisingly, I saw that coming. Coque Lopez getting the same penalty Guy Barbara got. It was effectively the same incident there. So Coque Lopez getting slapped for that. Meanwhile, the fight for first now really between these 5 cars. There's a bit of a gap behind us to kind of ruin in the R32. On board again with the NSX Type R of Valerio Gallo, currently second in the standings in our Nations Cup. So again, looking for a good position here, looking for a good result, just try and put himself in a nice order for the race coming, the grand final coming later on.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity here for Gallo to try and take profit courtesy of that incident for Lopez, especially the penalty to compound the Spaniard's woes. Gallo there, brilliant drive, fantastic. Lopez with another 1-second penalty to add to his woes there as well. Down on the brakes we go into the hairpin. Gallo's just going to bide his time. There's no point going and diving up the inside because you're going to lose all of that by the time you come to this next straight.
Yeah, he did back off there, I think, to get this toe. This is how strong the toe is. So right now, we're in P5. Let's see how much time we can gain being the last car in the train. And saying that, this car's rocketing away from the NSX down the straight. Let's see what Gallo can do. As Serrano was in a Stroza. So who's that as well? That kind of ruining the skyline. Look at the power of the thing. But he's passed Valerio Gallo. He's now chasing the cars in front. No, he's fallen back by again. But you can see just how strong the toe is. And again, Sasaki and Miyazono trade places. I think they're being a bit careful, but they're saying that. Miyazono's trying to keep it on the inside. There's Valerio Gallo diving up the inside of everyone up into P3. Was there contact there, Tom?
I don't know if there was. Inestrosa was out well wide, but I think he was on that course to himself. Oh, a bit of contact to the wall there as well. Serrano's in the middle of a bit of a pickle here because he's got De Bruyne in front, but he's trying to hide, rather, I should say, but also trying to attack the driver in front. And sure enough, he changed to the next corner, and the order has changed as well. De Bruyne side by side now with the Ferrari as we come through this ever-sweeping series of corners, and De Bruyne just keeping his powder dry for the time being.
This is just, what a race this is, what cars these are, the speeds are ridiculous. The thing is, at these speeds, if you do get something wrong, if you miss your braking point by, Gallo just driving by Sasaki there. And he did need invited twice for that, didn't he? So Gallo now up into second place. Been a great drive from the Italian so far. Of course, his cars are very different from the X2090s, but we've seen this with Valerio. He really likes his production-style car. Car a bit soft, a bit more roll to him. He just loves this sort of car. He really is just doing so well today.
I'm loving these production cars as well because we get to see the beautiful interiors that the team at Polyphony have modelled as well. I was actually watching on board with Valerio Gallo a few minutes ago, looking at the clock, and I noticed that the clock does actually work in real time as well. Just that little attention to detail that you just don't see anywhere else. Meanwhile, Sasaki is keeping an eye on his clock because he knows that the time will be running out as we head to the halfway stage, as he now gets past the Honda NSX of Valerio Gallo and back through into second position. Look at this, three abreast as we come through the tunnel. Oh, contact there with De Bruyne and Inestrosa. You've got to be so careful of that because these cars, when they're on the edge of adhesion like they are, you can flick them round with your little finger and it doesn't take a lot of contact at all to ruin your race. De Bruyne keeping a watching brief. We now right on board with him. This is a familiar sight for you if your name is Jimmy Broadbent, because that's a similar interior for your car. Look at that, Sasaki on the inside and Gallo as well. It's going to get messy, this one, isn't it, at the closing stages? You can just sense it's going to really bubble up. And look at that, De Bruyne with a lunge to the inside of Serrano as well. I don't think he'll make that stick, but somehow he's got traction on the inside here against the Spaniard, and if he can hold it around the outside, Serrano has got track position.
You can see in the traction zone, this thing's four-wheel drive compared to the wheel-wheel drive cars in front, just able to get that power down a bit quicker. But then through this midsection, just doesn't quite have the same cornering ability. So it's really interesting to see the strengths and weaknesses of the cars around this Tokyo Expressway circuit. And you see the gap really opening up there to the cars in front. But behind us is a 3.5-second gap. So the top six sort of are comfortable right now. And a reminder that it is a top six that will be scoring points in the grand final a bit later on. So good practice for Kai De Bruyne. Now closing back up to this leading pack. So there's a little bit of cat and mouse here, isn't there? This 6-3 coming in. So just trying to position yourself in the best place going onto that massive front straight.
Yeah, there is a fair bit of yin and yang going on in this race. Lopez, by the way, down in 10th position. His race not going well at all, and that's going to give him a big uphill task for the grand final in the X2019s a little bit later on. But if anyone can turn it round, Coco Lopez can. If you remember, he started last on the grid in the grand final in Prague, managed to get his way up to a podium finish, could have possibly fought the victory. On board we are then here with Kai De Bruyne. He's got Angel Inestrosa directly in front in the Mercedes AMG Black Series. Then it's Valerio Gallo up the road. And he's going to breeze on by Mercedes, or is he? Because pulling out the slip through there is Inestrosa on Valerio Gallo. And De Bruyne there, though he's got a fair bit of straight line speed, and that's where the strength of this Nissan GTR seems to be at the moment. He's just not able to use it for the time being. It's going to be a lunge to the inside. We're side by side there for third. Inestrosa looking for the long way around the outside of Valerio Gallo. There'll be a brave move if he can pull it off. Indeed he can't. The door's open for Kai De Bruyne, who gladly tries to walk through it. There's a bit of hip and shoulder going through into turn 2, and De Bruyne does manage to get the better of Inestrosa and goes up into 4th.
The braking zones are just so long here, such good opportunities for these big moves if you're comfortable in taking that risk. We've seen what happens if you're just a little bit too late in the brakes here. That barrier is just waiting to greet you on the outside of the corner. And again, you see him, this skyline just a bit weak in this part of the circuit. It can't keep up the rest.
Tell you what it has done though, it's just allowed the top three to have a little bit of breathing space. Only 7/10 of a second or so, but whilst they've been squabbling amongst one another behind, it's just broken the pack up ever so slightly. And likewise, Miyazono, he's begun to pull the pin now. He's got 8/10 of a second. That's the biggest gap we've seen all race long for the lead.
Tell you what, that NSX is very, very strong in that midsection there. Looking to then, Gallo is desperate to get by Sasaki. I think he's being held up a little bit now. But as you're saying, this Sasaki being a bit slower is giving Miyazono that gap. And we're getting to the point now where the draft isn't going to quite be as strong. That's what is keeping these guys together. But of course, you might have played the old GT4 driving missions, the slingshot missions. That's what Gallo's going to do now. He's going to wait, try and get a good run out of the corner, get a massive draft. You see the difference between all-wheel drive there and mule drive to the corner. That's amazing.
patience is going to reward these drivers. You don't want to be like a toddler waiting to open your presents on Christmas Eve. You've got to be careful about how you do this one. And you can see there, Guy de Bruyne now goes up into third position against Valerio Gallo. Across the timeline we go. 3 to go then at the end of this one. So de Bruyne in third position in the Nissan Skyline R32. Just up in front, we've got Sasaki, who's taken over from Takuma Miyazono. So that 8/10 of a second lead washed away in the space of less than one straight. Miyazono has a look back on the inside of the Lamborghini. Can he make it stick? I don't think Sasaki's going to hold him up too much, because he knows if they start squabbling, I say that, he goes back through on the inside. Beautiful switchback from Sasaki, but it's released the rest of the field to close right up onto the rear wing of the top two once again.
I know, obviously we're impartial here in the bottom of the group, but I am cheering a little bit for that R32 in third place. Guy de Bruyne doing things with that car that I'm not sure it's meant to do, to be honest, but they're now in the back of the train. Look how close these guys are. 6 cars all separated by about a second as we're on the lap 8 of 10. So only about a lap, about 2 laps and a half to sort this all out for our guys here. Jose Serrano on board in that awesome Ferrari F40, always also looking to pounce. You get the real impression, Tom, that anyone could win this race.
Yeah, it is going to be a lottery. Oh, de Bruyne's wide though. That's allowed Gallo through, and Serrano possibly to pick up the pieces as well. De Bruyne's still there on the inside, trying to hold firm for 5th position at the moment. And you can see up in front now as well. Once again, that yin and yang, the ebbing and flowing of this race. Sasaki leading from Miyazono. Gallo and Miyazono now side by side for a second as we come down into the hairpin. Is Miyazono going to launch it through on the inside, or is he going to try and wait another day? No, he's going to go through. He's got track position on the inside. Will Gallo try and challenge him on the exit of the corner? He just lets him through and decides to go into the slipstream to attack him on this start-finish straight. So 2 to go then.
The NSX just can't get out of the corner. Every time you see it struggle compared to the cars around it. Again in the background, Guy de Bruyne in that 4-wheel drive R32 GTR just pulls alongside with ease, and they're now side by side in the mirror. What a shot that is as we come down again to the first corner on board Miyazono. Look at that speed, look at the mirror. Guy de Bruyne is there behind, challenging. He says, I'm second place. Will he ever go on Miyazono for first? And on the inside as well. Oh, no. He goes.
It bottlenecks up into turn 1, and de Bruyne round like a tabletop at the start of the penultimate lap. What a shame for the Dutchman. We've always talked about him and his misfortune in the GT World Series, and unfortunately it comes home to roost as he plummets down the order. That releases 6 cars now down to 5. Miyazono it is that leads.
What a shame for Guy de Bruyne. It was a very strong race for him there, but actually same time the track's just a bit narrower there. I think he's caught out by that as Gallo goes round the outside of Sasaki, and now for the first time Valerio Gallo is in a position where maybe he can get onto the back of Miyazono. He's going to be close. That Gallardo close. That Gallardo in front, I think, is 4-wheel drive. So here's a replay of what happens here, Tom.
Yeah, let's have a look. So de Bruyne then goes for the move, and yeah, he just clips the wall, doesn't he? There wasn't any contact seemingly with Miyazono. Clips the wall as it bumps up. That sends him round. I talked about the cars being so easy to turn around when you're at that limit, and you can see it there spinning round right to the back of the field. It's now an uphill challenge for de Bruyne, unfortunately, for the grand final. He'll be starting plumb last.
Yeah, he just came round and just turned across the nose of Miyazono, and that was the end. It's a real shame for Guy de Bruyne, but just over 1 lap to go here, the sprint race here at Tokyo Expressway. Takuma Miyazono leads at the last corner, Gallo second, Sasaki third, and now it's going to be the biggest slipstream race of your life. They're all going to want to lead into T1, and Miyazono's in the worst place.
Keep an eye out as well for the slipstream here, because we're just about to come across to the timing line and see how far Valerio Gallo is. So look, if there's the start-finish line, what's that going to look like in a lap stop? You need to be closer than that in order to challenge for the victory if you're going to go for a slipstream move. Gallo then now does go for the move against Takuma Miyazono, and hello, here comes Jose Serrano. There's more contact there. Miyazono gets biffed into the wall, but he's got the advantage of the slipstream, and it's Serrano going to be in a bit of lumber here. No, he's still there, ready to try and take advantage down to the first corner. Miyazono with a lunge on the inside, leans on Valerio Gallo. Gallo's going to get shuffled to the outside. Miyazono is going to have a sniff through into turn 2, but can't do anything, and now it's Gallo that leads, but he's slightly in the wall. Sasaki's ready there to take the advantage of it as well, and likewise Serrano, and also Angel Stroza. This is going to get messy.
So Gallo is out front, but he needs a gap. That car is not good off the last corner. Any of the cars behind him will out-drag him down to the first corner. So at the moment, Gallo's going to drive for his life in this middle sector. Miyazono is still there. We have our second and third place in the championship, separated by only 0.3 of a second coming into the last section. Now he's putting a bit of a gap, Tom, but is that going to be enough going on to the final straight?
Time is going to tell here. Gallo's pulled an advantage, but like you say, is it going to be enough for him to have that in his pocket? There are the steely eyes of determination for the Italian. The winner, of course, of the grand final from Prague last time out. Second he sits in the standings. His nearest rival to that is Coque Lopez. He's 11th, and that's where it looks like he'll be starting the grand final from. So this will be a great opportunity here for Valerio Gallo. Down into the hairpin. Miyazono late on the brakes. He's deep. Could that cost him a possibility of second place even here as we come on to the start-finish straight then for the final time? It's Gallo, Miyazono, Sasaki and Serrano. Miyazono's close. He's in the slipstream. We're going to go through into the tunnel and we're going to come to the timing line. Is Gallo going to be a sitting duck or is Miyazono going to pounce? It's a trap to the line in the sprint race here in the Nations Cup. Is it Miyazono or Gallo? 0.003 of a second in it, and Miyazono wins on the streets of Tokyo. Gallo finishes second, Sasaki in third. What a finish! Absolutely fantastic.
You could just see Valerio looking out the side of his car. No. Miyazono came through like a freight train. Good to see him getting up and applauding that. Sometimes you don't mind a race like that when you're a driver. If you come away feeling like you've had a good race.